A wise man, Jesus, the Christed one, once said something along the lines of, "To those who have much, even more will be given. To those who have little, even more will be taken away." That's a paraphrase of Matthew 13, verse 12, I believe, in the King James version of the Bible. I'm not here to preach the Bible, but I am here to share words of wisdom. And Jesus had a lot of words of wisdom in his words. Some of them are shared in the Bible in the form of the Gospels. And a lot of people will take that verse to justify the chasing after and the accumulation of material wealth, because it says too much. To those who have much, more will be given. To those who have little, more will be taken away. And now who wants to be in the position of having no money and be poor, right? Who wants that? Well, Jesus didn't worry about it. He actually told his disciples to sell everything and follow him and not worry about the bread that they need to put in their belly, or where they're going to lay their head, or what they're going to clothe themselves with, because their God would provide. So I think Jesus probably wasn't warning people about not having enough material wealth. I think the teaching rather was about wisdom. To those who have wisdom, more wisdom will be added. To those who have little wisdom, even more will be taken away. The more you submit yourself to God, the more you humble yourself, the more you pursue a close relationship with the divine creator who knows all, who is the wisest, the more wise you will become. Right? Would you rather have a lot of money and have spent all of your time accumulating money and therefore failed to develop wisdom, because you can't do both? You can't serve two masters. You only have so much attention and time to give. So if all of your time is spent chasing money, trying to ensure financial stability and security, then that means that you don't have time to put towards communing with God or growing in wisdom. It's just not possible. Now let's assume that there are some people who have been blessed with financial gifts that are also wise. These things are not necessarily mutually exclusive, but you will see that they are wise in the way that they use their money. You will know them by their fruits. And some people will use that as an excuse to chase after money, and they'll say, well, when I get a lot of money, I'm going to do good things with it. So I'm going to make the excuse of spending all of my time chasing after the money to earn the money, so I'll do good things with it. It doesn't work that way, because if you're not already wise to begin with, you won't all of a sudden, once you've accumulated a bunch of money, have the wisdom to know how to wisely and rightly spend that money. Now it's like you're a child with a loaded gun that has no safety on it. So better first to accumulate the wisdom and trust that if God wants you to have money as a tool to enact your wisdom in the world, then trust that that's what will be given to you. You don't need to chase after it. It's the same with everything. Everything. God's will be done. And you're meant to be an instrument of that. If God's will is to have money at your disposal, that you can spend according to his will, he will provide you with that money, and he will tell you what you need to do to get that money. Okay. But to hear that message, to get that wisdom, to know what that is, you have to worship God. You don't get there by worshiping money. That's true. A lot of people will chase after the cities, the supernatural powers and gifts that you develop once you have reached a certain level of consciousness. Through meditation, through yoga, these are things that happen to people. These gifts get activated, these powers that are innate within all humans as part of this technology that we've forgotten how to use. Some people will pursue yoga and meditation just for the sake of developing those powers, so because they want to be able to use those powers to get rich or to satisfy their material lust. But here's the thing, guys. The irony of that is anyone who has awakened to that level, once they have awakened to that level, will realize that they are already so spiritually wealthy that the money is a joke. They don't want any of that anymore. All of the riches you could acquire on this material plane are like the Wish version, the Temu version of the storehouse of treasures in heaven. Spiritual treasures, wisdom, bliss, the consciousness of omnipresence. Wow, there's nothing better than that. Everything else is a cheap version, a knockoff, a distraction. So yes. To those who have much more will be given. To those who have little, even more will be taken away. And even if that's true with money, and you really like money, you will find that those who have money still got problems. And some of those problems are that they can't trust anybody because they think everybody wants their money. Right? And what I have found is that the less material wealth that I have, the more I see the reality of the hearts of those around me. And I think the opposite is true for those who have a lot of money. They see more the reality of their shadow, whatever they're going to project their fear onto other people. Because I see people's hearts in the way they interact with me as a person who is not cloaked in things that would suggest that I have money, or is not driving a fancy car or living in a big house. Like, people see that about me, and then they've been taught in this culture to make certain assumptions about why that is. Well, it must mean that she's desperate. It must mean she's needy. It must mean she's easily manipulated because she's going to want, surely she's lusting after and desiring all of these things. Surely she feels like she is lacking, and therefore maybe I could take advantage of that. And I could pay her a less wage than somebody who has a little more of her than her materially, who isn't so desperate. This is what I have found, like, time and time again. People with more money than me who are looking to exploit others to gain even more money. That's the game that's being played in this world. Exploitation. Yes. So in that way, it is true on a financial level as well. To those who have little, even more will be taken. For those who have little, look around you. It is the immigrant. It is the poor, financially poor person who has very little money that these big corporations, that these billionaires look at and say, work for minimum wage. Because what are you going to do about it? I got all the money, I got all the resources, and you need to eat. I guess you can't complain. You're desperate, aren't you? That's being done to people. But what these people don't realize who try to do that to me is I am wealthy. I've got the real wealth. And I'm being serious here. I don't need your money. I got God. I got the love of my Father in heaven. He has my ear. He tells me where to go, what to do, what to say, what not to say. And guess what? I get food when I need it. I get warmth when I need it. I get all the things I need without having to bow down and lick the boots of a man who has a bunch of money, who thinks I'm desperate. I laugh at that. I cry for that. Every day I get up and I spend 2 hours accumulating wisdom, putting it in the bank of my heart, and growing in that. And it's growing like a snowball. And guess what? It's so abundant. I don't have to be stingy with it. And I realize that in sharing it, I benefit and my brothers benefit, and it's something I want to share. I don't need to withhold it so that I can exploit somebody and gain from my withholding. No, the more I give, the more I get. The more I share, the more I grow, because it's reflected back to me. And these people who are exploiting others, withholding, that's going to come back to them too.